All right, let's talk about something that is quite literally running our world from behind the scenes, the database. You can think of it as this giant invisible library that powers almost everything you do online. And to really get what that means, we need to start with a really simple question.
From your username and password to what was in your shopping cart last week to your all-time high score in that game you play, how does it all just work? Well, the secret is this incredibly organized system that's designed to store and pull up information in the blink of an eye. So to understand that system, we've got to start at the very beginning. We need to look at the smallest, most basic piece of the whole puzzle, the data itself. Now, data on its own is just raw, unorganized information. Let's imagine a huge university library. A single piece of data is like one word on a page in one of those books, or maybe a student's name, or a single grade on a test. It's a fact, sure, but without any context, it doesn't really tell you much of a story. A database is what gives all that data meaning. It takes all those little individual facts and arranges them into a structured, organized collection. So now we're not talking about just one word anymore. We're talking about the entire library, with every book arranged logically on the shelves. And this is where it all comes together. See, by organizing those raw facts into a structure like this simple table here, we start to create relationships. All of a sudden, Susie Jones's name isn't just a name, it's connected to her birthday and her GPA. The individual random words have become a coherent story, and that's how raw data becomes truly useful information. Okay, so having a giant, perfectly organized library is great, but being able to find anything in it, that's a whole other challenge. And that's where our digital librarian comes into play. I mean, seriously, just picture it. You walk into that massive library with millions of books, but there's no librarian, no card catalog, no system whatsoever. It would be total chaos, right? You'd never find the one book you're looking for. Well, databases have the exact same problem. You need a system to manage the whole thing. And that system is called a database management system, or DBMS for short. This is the software that is basically the brains of the entire operation. It's our super efficient librarian who knows exactly where every single piece of information is, and it knows how to get it, how to update it, and, crucially, how to keep it safe. So, what does this digital librarian actually do all day? Well, its job can pretty much be broken down into 4 main functions. First, it has to define the rules of the library, what kind of data is allowed, how it's structured, all of that. Then, it has to construct the library, which is really just storing the data on a hard drive, basically putting the books on the shelves. Then comes the day-to-day work, manipulating the data. That means retrieving it, updating it, whatever you need to do. And finally, and this is a big one, sharing. The DBMS makes sure that tons of different people can access the data at the exact same time without everything grinding to a halt. But a modern DBMS does way more than just that basic organization. It has some pretty incredible capabilities that, honestly, make our complex digital world even possible. I like to think of these as its superpowers. Take transaction management. That's the magic that lets 1,000 people buy concert tickets at the exact same millisecond without the system accidentally selling the same seat twice. Then there's access control. That's the digital security guard making sure you can see your bank account, but nobody else can. And resiliency? That's what ensures that if the system crashes, your data, your game save, your photos, your shopping cart isn't lost forever. It's a huge deal. So how does this all actually work under the hood? Well, the secret is in this really clever 3-level architecture that kind of separates how the data is physically stored from how we actually see and interact with it. Just think of it as 3 different ways of looking at the very same information. We're going to move from the most nitty-gritty, technical level all the way up to the one that you use every single day. Okay, so right down at the very bottom, we have the physical level. This is the raw reality of it all. The ones and zeros on a hard drive, the actual magnetic bits on a disk. In our library analogy, this is the actual ink and paper the books are printed on. It's how the information is physically stored. One step up from that is the logical level. This is the master blueprint for the entire database. It describes what data is being stored, and more importantly, how all those different pieces of data relate to each other. This is the library's Dewey Decimal System. It's the grand organizational plan that makes sense of everything. And finally, right at the top, we have the external level. This is what you, the user, actually get to see, and it's totally customized for you. So when you log into your university's website, you see your grades and your class schedule, not the records for all 20,000 other students. It's your own personal, secure window into that much larger database.
This whole idea brings up two really important terms, schema and instance. The easy way to think about it is this. The schema is like the library's permanent architectural blueprint. It defines the structure, and it almost never changes. An instance, on the other hand, is just a snapshot in time. It's like taking a photo of which books happen to be on the shelves right now. The blueprint stays the same, even though the content is changing constantly.
When you put all this together, you really get to the core power of what a database is. It's not just a bunch of separate files in different folders. No, it's one single, massive, integrated home for data. And that allows everyone, from totally different departments, thousands of different users, to all work from the exact same, consistent, up-to-the-minute information.
So, as we've seen, our entire digital world is built on top of these incredibly complex, invisible libraries and their powerful digital librarians. They store everything from our financial data to our medical records. And that leaves us with a really big question to think about. Who should get to be in charge of drawing up the blueprints for these systems? Who gets to decide the rules for the library?